You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing might of the Eugene S. Robinson Show. Stomper! Oh, wow. Welcome, my friends, to share a finally seemingly never ends. This is version number 390. You disruption stuff of your own Eugene S. We got a package jam the show for you today. First us that finally sing us in as he has every single week since 2007. The band is Stigmata. The record is Calling of a Just. The song is Intro of Nothing, still available from Revelation Records in Huntington Beach, California. But it's definitely a nightclub. Okay. You get your car with a hammer and run your video program out of town on the rail to open a substandard restaurant in Central Florida that will inevitably. Escucha, amigos. ¿Qué tal? And listen well. Oh, I try to adjust the height. I just figured. I'm on my way back nowhere. I took my time with a gun, yeah. Now I'm taking a real good thought for you. Now I'm taking a real good thought at your face. I'm way back there, boy. So all right, my friends, meine Freunde. You'll detect some small, minute changes in the show today. Mostly my physical placement and spacement. I had to move because my office has been turned into a bunk for daughters 2 and 3, as we have all convened on La Casa de España for the Thanksgiving holidays, which of course are not celebrated in Spain. Actually, not really celebrated. Anybody with any Native American blood in them doesn't really celebrate it, but I love it. It's my favorite holiday because it's about food and family. So everybody's here. Mom is here, husband, all the kids are here, ex-wife, everybody's here. It's a great time. And I got 2 more people coming, sisters coming in. And then I have sisters and their families coming in December for the December holidays. So I am actually a happy guy. I started to think, as I was on my way to the beach. Yeah, it's really great. As I was on my way to the beach, I go, you got to be a real asshole to be unhappy given my place in space. The only stress in my day at this point in time, the absolute only stress in my day is anytime I'm driving on the freeway. And I do, you drive by somebody, they cut you off, or they're driving like an asshole, and you pull up next to them. And I used to deliver this thing in America that I would call the eyes of justice. I'm not mad dogging you, but I just want you to see that I see with the eyes of the world that you are ideally better suited for riding on the bus. So you pull up next to them, no head shake, nothing. You pull up next to them and you just witness. And you keep going. And I've figured out when people are driving like ass here, I pull up next to them and they're like what? Like not even what? They're just like, hey, or it's just not on there. It's like if I start speaking to you right now in Serbo-Croatian, it's just not going to factor into anything that makes sense to you. Like, yeah, whatever, man. Or like those Hungarian women I used to date, and both of them when we broke up, I was going to say when they dumped me, but whatever, and they start calling me a peasant, and I was like, this must be, given the energy that they're delivering this with, this must be like the way to really cuss somebody out in Hungary. But to me, a peasant, what do you need, pre-agrarian, or what are we talking about? Peasant, okay, or like when I absolutely accidentally called tried to insult. Well, I wasn't trying. I insulted a Greek friend of mine by calling him a gypsy. Dude almost flipped out. So if somebody calls me a gypsy, then my extent with gypsy was like in the '60s or early '70s when I was actually impolitic enough to say, "Oh, that guy gypped me." I didn't realize that I didn't even realize at the time that it referred to gypsies, kind of like that girl who I dated whose father was an award-winning sociologist. And at dinner, he kept talking about wetbacks. And finally, after the third mention, I put my fork down. I go, "You do realize that's pejorative, right? I mean, I don't know if that's your intent, but it's just, are you trying to piss me off, or what are you doing?" I think it was actually at a pre-Thanksgiving dinner 30 years ago or some such thing. He goes, "No, it's not. That's what they're called." I go, "No, man, by that argument, Negroes could be called niggers. That's not what we're called. It's a pejorative term for people who come across this country." He goes, "I thought it just described how are you an award-winning sociologist? Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why don't you go ask your friend Arturo Islas? Call him, ask him if he's got any wetbacks in his family." It's stupid. It's, like somebody once said, "I don't have enough time to educate stupid people." So there you go. There you go. So anyway, so I have, it started with shouldering your burdens without complaint. It started with a couple of Substacks where I realized, how good things are, and it's continued. I got, outside of extended problems, I got to get myself financially unfucked from America. I got nothing to complain about, and I'm not complaining. Just noting that I'm not complaining. So so it is great to have yes, it is indeed great to have everybody here. Though I'm not sitting behind the desk, I'm sitting next to my wall of dictators. There we go. Poop McGee. Yeah, yeah, not too late. All right. So, um, specifically Mussolini and Take a Drink Hitler, which was what do they call that thing? 3D rendered by a Google employee who just thought it would be funny to give me, and he also programmed the voices of the Hitler figurine. And I had some guy in here, a friend of mine from Cuba. And I got left him in here, and my stuff was slightly moved after he left. And I was like, I don't think maybe I'm like in a situation where people are just not going to understand my quirky sense of humor. In fact, I told one of my kids, "Ah, you got kind of a quirky sense of humor," and they're like, "That's how you see yourself? Is that how you?" Which I got from this big Muay Thai guy who, anytime anybody would go into the bathroom at Fairtex, would run into the bathroom and try to grab your crotch. And I was like, "Yo, dude, this is kind of fucking creepy. I'm gonna be pissing in the park right now." You go, "Oh yeah, he's got kind of a quirky sense of humor." Quirky, that's what you call it? I don't need a fucking 6'2" Thai, 6'2", 240 pound Thai guy, world champion kickboxer who tries to grab junk every time you go to take a leak. That's not quirky, man. There's another name for that, but it's not quirky. So when I say I see myself as having a quirky sense of humor, it's quirky. Yeah, little Hitler, Take a Drink figurine that says funny things like "Oxbow is my favorite band." That's funny. Grabbing guys' junk every time they go to take a piss. That's beyond quirky. But anyway, so I know you didn't have a chance to read the Substack. I know it. It's impossible. But there were a lot of people asking for it, and I did not intend for it to be, you know, I, it, it was just something I said in a post from a previous week, and I made mention. I put a picture up of me and Samuel L. Jackson, and the guy hated me, him and Nick Cave. People go like, "We," and I thought, man, how come people? If you read the stuff I've written, I've read those stories before, and I go to Google to search for it. Nick Cave, Eugene S. Robinson, nothing. Nick Cave, Samuel L. Jackson. And then I remember that these were, of course, written for Ozzy, which means in his bitterness and, endless bile, the convicted felon Carlos Watson has firewalled and shit canned the site in its entirety. So all of the hard work that everybody put in for 10 years, over 1,000 articles of mine, is now in the ether just because. And two of those pieces had to do with Samuel L. Jackson and Nick Cave. So I was like, well, since he's dead and they're my stories, I think I'll retell them. There's a lot of stuff that happened this week that I was slightly more interested in. Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning, being one of the more significant facts, and especially since yesterday we did not do, John Nash is back in Minnesota taking care of his mom, so we couldn't do If the Shoes Fit. So that would have been something to talk about. The timepiece on Eric Adams, which actually got him quite a deal of sympathy. I think the guy probably, after reading the piece, was railroaded. Um, the picture with Madani and Trump, the fact that Trump sucked somebody's cock, but maybe it wasn't Bill Clinton's, but somebody else named Bubba. Of course, they had a horse named Bubba then. I don't know what Jeffrey Epstein's brother is doing flapping his pie hole, to the surprising realization that what my mother spoke to me not even 2 hours ago, that she doesn't give a fuck about the Epstein list. That was like a head spin. What are you talking about? What do we got going this week? This week is Thanksgiving. I don't know if John is going to be in shape to do Saturday, but if so, I'll be around. What did I deliver this week? I delivered my piece for Decibel. I got my Substack done. There's a kid who was asking me for some questions for doing a student paper he's doing that I got to respond to, which I'll do that right after I do the show. Did my Decibel piece on Agnostic Front. I got nothing to do. All I got to do is try to find a turkey in Malaga. There's just not people here not in the turkey. So no, good for you there. I said, I got to find the fucking turkey. So we're all going to go to Carrefour or Miramar tomorrow and try to find stuffing, go to the international food section. So it's technically international food, cranberries, pumpkin pie, but yeah, we're all together. So, it's great. My grandson came to Cora to do jiu-jitsu on Friday. Great. I'm going to try to drag everybody, all four daughters and grandson to jiu-jitsu sometime this week. That will be great. Otherwise, it's hot tub and pool and sitting out on the beach. It's all going to be great. And I'm happy about it. And I don't have $27 billion of box office. I would never give a journalist that kind of a hard time. Only journalist I've ever given a hard time to is a guy who said, yeah, I heard about you black guys and white women, in the middle of a televised interview. Oh, you're getting some Spanish ham for sure. And I froze that guy out so bad, he stopped doing TV interviews. It was great. Fantastic. Anyway, the kids sleep in the next room. I want to go out and hang out with the family. Thanks for listening. You know what I usually say to end the show? This is version 390. What do I got coming up? I'll tell you soon enough, but I got some exciting things coming up. Balm a Little Joy, Mangine live shows with the Young Gods in Switzerland, book shows coming up. Pay attention. Anyway, look what you made me do. Jesus, don't die.
Thanks for joining us this week for yet another episode of the Show Stomper podcast, featuring your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Be sure to follow Eugene's weekly newsletter, which is a soaring hit at eugenesrobinson.substack.com. If you're still on Twitter, he's at Eugene S. Robinson. While you're at it, follow him on Insta at Mr. Sleep 3, that's the number 3. For more episodes of the show that seemingly never ends, go to showstomper.substack.com and become a subscriber today. Eventually, it will house all the Knuckle Up archives we can locate. We already have all the jiu-jitsu breakdowns for free. Check out Eugene on the Bad Boss Brief podcast every other Wednesday morning, as well as the If the Shoes Fit podcast. Pick up his memoir, A Walk Across Dirty Water and Straight into Murderer's Row today. And be sure to leave him a much appreciated honest Amazon review.
Hey, are you still there? I'm here too. This is me, June M. Williams, Eugene's producer.
The show Stomper has been produced by Original Designs, owned and operated by me, June M. Williams. I provide Eugene with videography, original show graphics, motion graphics, show logos, podcast syndication, social media, and more. I can be reached at orijunels@gmail.com, spelled ORIJUNELS @gmail.com.